Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Be sure to hit that like button if you breathe oxygen. All jokes aside, we're out here checking on our little solar heating box. We finally got some solar activity. We haven't had anything but cloudy days since I basically built this box, so we haven't had a whole lot of data collection. A few degrees transferred, but that's about it. Today was no different. We had a very, very thick cloud cover, but it's starting to break up here late in the afternoon, so I wanted to get some data. So we put about 65, 64 degrees into this water here. Ooh, it actually feels halfway warm there. That is pretty darn cool right there. We got a little condensation in the middle of the box from that cold water pumping up and coming through. I was able to lay it horizontally how I originally wanted designed, so it could all coil through and just basically funnel right out this side right here. So the temp of the water is about 48 degrees there. 48 is what I'm reading. So let's use what we've learned to figure out what kind of transfer and BTUs we can actually put a label on how much heat we're putting into this container. So I got my little whiteboard out here. So our temp outside right now is about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. I wrote that our temp inside the greenhouse is 60 because that's about what it was when I came in, about 60, 61. So our temp starting, this water was 40 degrees, 39 or 40 degrees when I came out this morning to check on it. So that was our overnight holding temp. So now this water is 48 degrees. I just showed on our little compost thermometer, and what we're transferring out is about 64, 65 degrees. So we're getting about a 16 degree increase Fahrenheit. So once we figure out how much we're transferring, we can run it through the equation and basically figure out the BTU output. So if we transferred 16 degrees of heat to the water, and we're flowing about a half a gallon per minute, so we're going to take 0.5 to represent the half a gallon. So when we multiply 16 times 0.5, we get 8. So we take 8 times 500.4 and we come up with 4,003.2 BTUs being put into this water. That is just our transfer rate at the end of this afternoon when we finally got some sun. If this thing had full sun all day, I'm sure we could transfer a lot more heat to it. So our starting temperature was 40 degrees on this tank, and we raised it to about 48 thus far, giving us about 2,000 BTUs transferred into this tank throughout the day. And we could have had a lot better, like I said, if the sun didn't just come out. So let's take a meander through the greenhouse here. I wanted to talk about a few things. Our sprouting temps. So you can see all of this lettuce. We've just got random clusters. I really heavy-handed sown this whole bed with lettuce there. Well, that lettuce, it requires at least 30 degrees to 33 degrees to be able to even germinate. And at that temperature, it doesn't really grow that well, especially from a freshly sprouted seed. You will have maybe a 50% success rate. So that tells me that I have at least 30 degrees or more on the floor of the greenhouse all the time, even overnight. But I bet the temps are even better than that, because the ideal optimal sprouting temp and growing temp for lettuce is 70 to 75 degrees. And those came up pretty quickly and they're continuing to grow. So that tells me that I have better temp. So not only lettuce is sprouting, we've got some Siberian kale, and this is a really cold hardy one for us. And you can tell that those are not getting real leggy. They're coming up and they're growing well. They look like most of the others that we grow throughout any time in the season when it's warm outside. So having this little geothermal tube blowing in there is definitely helping also. We're at least holding 50 degrees into the night. I don't know about the overnight temps. I'm gonna throw little thermometers in every little corner of this greenhouse. I'm gonna buy like 20 thermometers and I'm gonna stick them everywhere so I can come out and check everything. Maybe in the middle of the night when my lights are on, I can come out here and just collect a little data and kind of share all that with everybody. Next thing I wanted to talk about is the amount of lighting. None of our plants are leggy. Even the brand new sprouts, even our transplants, all of the rapini broccoli in there, nothing is leggy. Everything looks amazing. In the dead of winter, we have about 8 to 9 hours or so, I believe, of light, and that seems to be sufficient enough without adding any additional lighting here. Like I said, all the plants are doing well. They're not leggy. We're not seeing any issues related to low amounts of light. Even on those really cloudy days, we're getting enough solar activity to keep all these plants alive and growing because we don't have any fruiting plants. Those fruiting plants are what require all of that extra energy in those ample hours of light. All of these crops, we've got all these heading collards, beets, all types of stuff coming up in here in all of the beds. Everything seems to be growing well. Our corn salad here has doubled in size. Our leeks, everything seems to be doing very well, which is really quite awesome because we're not having to run electricity yet. We're not going to have to use any extra additional energy to provide lighting to these plants. Once I dig my trench, once the ground thaws up, I can dig a trench, and I'm going to run at least one outlet or two in this southern corner here, so I can do a lot more other than just running on the solar systems I built myself. I'd like to get a like 1500 watt to 2000 watt solar system to power the entire greenhouse, and that would mean I really don't need any electricity out in the greenhouse. So I'm really just trying to share with everyone how well this is working for us. This cheaply built $1,500 greenhouse. We got 520 square feet for about 1,500 bucks. And that's with both layers included, everything to build the greenhouse. This is just our second year. This is our second winter going into this greenhouse. Now there's one more main topic I really wanted to talk about to everybody. Do we compost inside the greenhouse? I am going to say that is a huge no from me, because I did that last winter with like 7 or 8 small piles. I mean, not small, but not large compared to this John Payne system we've got now. Those really attracted the rodents. We had nothing but problems with pests last winter, and you can check out videos where we actually got a little bit of heat, but we were trying to heat this whole single layer greenhouse. I see a lot of questions and a lot of people trying to heat their greenhouse with compost inside, but I would advise against heating your greenhouse with compost and using the compost inside unless it is well contained, because the rodents can be very rampant when you have compost heating inside the greenhouse. All of those pests leave their fecal and urine waste all over everything, and you do not want to get sick. You don't want to get yourself sick by having that in your greenhouse or near your food. We spent all last winter using mouse traps and bucket traps, just trying to keep the mice at bay, and whatever crops we did find success with, we had eaten by the mice. So we lost a lot of our energy and work to those rodents that we were attracting by putting compost in our greenhouse. So if anybody's got any questions here on anything I covered today, our little solar heating box, there's a lot more energy required to transfer that heat to water than to air. So that being said, the next thing I'm going to build is a nice air solar heater. So I can heat up some air for free and push it throughout the greenhouse, or push it into a tunnel, or possibly build a sprouting box that is contained and uses the heat from that little solar air heater. There's lots of ideas and videos coming your way, so I'd like to thank all of my subscribers. A huge shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome, and you come up with some very good ideas, and you guys give me good feedback, and I really appreciate that.